whether it's okay. So Jyoti has, I think she's been successful in starting the recording. So rather than me continuing on it, I'll put on the slides, and so we can start on. So thank you so very much joining in again, and it's not just going to be one way. So I would request everyone, if you can unmute or if you can put your questions, and it's not such a difficult thing that's going to be, so we would have more fun and enjoy understanding, about the psychometric assessments and the various tools globally, when it started, and what it makes to a corporate, what it makes to a student, what it makes to a family, to a married couple, what it makes for a criminal, what it makes for so you can use it for anywhere. So I'll start the screen. So we start with that. So give me a second, which is okay. So this is about the Pushti, the company that is there, the Pushti Global app. Yeah, we've been almost in Dubai and probably covered the Europe. India, we're not so prominent still, and probably this is my first time after so many years. Yes, we do have Indian clients, but then we work them in Dubai only. We never have been India and working with Indians. So it's been a first first time for me and addressing and having its interaction with all of you. So thank you for this opportunity. So this is a little about psychometric assessments. What is its importance? Probably we look through the microscope to understand, putting our hats of a psychologist. Okay. Generally, we, whenever we say psychology and assessment, it's more about understanding a person in terms of skills and behavior. That's the understanding which goes, because psycho, it's all about behavior, and assessment is all about your knowledge. So psychometrics or assessment, psychometric assessments, that's how it's been derived. So this is what in a nutshell, what it's it says when the global research was done, and they tried to identify humans, how it is. So they say that it's like an iceberg, and you cannot identify the complete potential of a human being through anything. It's very hard to know. You can know the skill of a person, you can know his attitude, you can know his self-confidence, you can know his personality. It's very, very hard to know, and discover his motives, what drives him to do that. What is that which, made him to, to dream about it, or to aspire about it. It's very, very hard. As the iceberg, it says, it doesn't, and that's the research of Harvard, which suggests that only 11% of the total personality we know, and then we apply assessments, and then we apply mock interviews, then we apply various skills to understand the person, and then we can reach up to still only 80%. We cannot reach 100%. Okay, so when you meet a person here, what you see, but actually, to deep dive, you'll see a complete iceberg. So you may be surprised to know anyone sitting next to you also that he has so much of hidden potential within him. And I'm sure with Neta and Jyoti and so many trainings, you would understand that every person on this group has so much of dynamic potential. So why psychometrics? Because we need to know the matrix, and connect it with psychology to define, the characteristics of his behavior. And that's why we use psychometrics. So going to the next one is psychology, which I spoke about. Psychology is to do with the behavior, and Matrix is which measures, so it measures the behavior of the person at different situation, different circumstances, and it records and puts this on a system where you can understand and define his correlations in different environments. So that's a little about psychometrics. I think this is a very, very thing which probably we all have heard, hired for qualification and fired for behavior, and I'm sure some of you agree, or most of you would agree, that most of the people change their job not because the organization is not good, but most of the time it's about the boss, it's about the work environment, it's about the appreciation. So it's more to do with a behavior, and globally it's a very, very big challenge to find organizational fitment, because there is no dearth of EQ, IQ in the world, but yes, behavior is a challenge. So this is something that you say, probably you've heard again this quote that all those people who present well in their interviews may not perform well at work. Okay, so this is again a part of how do you identify, and how do you develop that individual to develop the organization. So where do we reach with all this? We reach at a pyramid which says that the self-awareness of the person, the job fitment, and the organizational culture. So this three triangle has to meet to find a job satisfaction and performance. I'm sure in everybody's career, we've seen people are getting good paid or good salaries, and still they don't feel that contentment or job satisfaction. So this could be not because they're not qualified, or this may not be because they're not performing, but this maybe could be because of their job fit or their inner drives, so to perform on their job. So that was a little content about assessment, what it means. Assessment is never, a pass or a fail. It's always talks about personality, when you talk about psychometric assessment. This is again a statement, there is no good or bad person. There is always a good or a bad job fitment or an organization fit. There's no human that God has created or this universe has created who is not capable of doing anything. Only thing, if he has not been successful, he's still to identify what his potentials are. So that's what the saying is. Probably here you would see it very small. If I expand it, why should you go for assessment, or what is the importance of assessment, or how do you validate? Because there's so many tools available. You go on Google, you talk to anybody, and I would say, but how do you assess which is the right tool? So whenever you look at assessment, you should see about the coefficient alpha, like it's a standard thing, like how you have the standard measuring scale, 1 to 10. So that's the standard. So whenever you're measuring any assessment, you measure on coefficient alpha, that's 0.01, and anything closer to it is the best tool. So the tool I'm talking to is 0.089, so which is very close, but still it's not it eliminates most of it, but still it's not 0.01. So now here we talk about what are the 4 W's as assessment, why we should do it, who should do it, and what's there for me in doing the assessment, and where can this assessment be done. Maybe somebody may say, I'm still yet to join my profession, I don't need assessment. Or somebody may say, oh, I'm a housewife, I don't work, so do I need assessment? Or somebody may say, oh, I'm really doing good in my job and I'm quite happy, so I don't think so I need assessment. But or somebody may say, I really have a big fight with my husband. I don't know how to manage my personal and family life. So can I do assessment? And this is yes for everyone. So as we see, we saw before, it's very, very difficult to identify a person. And with this challenging times, we all are running against time. Gone are days where, we used to sit down with our parents and our grandparents, our uncle, aunties, our society, where we would have time to understand, breathe. I remember the poem was like, we have no time to watch the sky and the birds fly, so these are those times where we grab and we move. I know COVID has made an impact on us, has slowed down us, but our brains have not slowed down. It's just slowed down us, in terms of movement, but our emotions, our physical or social needs have not stopped. It has been more challenging and more dynamic than ever. So why assessment? If you see on the slide, we see that the tip of the iceberg is what you know about yourself. And that's what I knew about myself when I left India, also when I came to Dubai. There's so many things within you that you don't know. And how can you discover them? Is through going through not just assessment. I know that there are personality profiling, which talks about how you are. There are assessment, cognitive assessment that talks about, how good are you with math, science. There also occupation interest that talks about which occupation you would be good. But how, like I'm a good talker. Can I be a salesperson? May not be. I may not do that. So who can do this? As we spoke about, we need to know the integrity. I cannot separate myself when I'm at the workplace. This is me as a wife. This is me as my profession. I'm an integrated person. So whether you want to take up a job or whether you want to do employee hiring, whether you want to do business, whether you want to do, you all, who are into profession can do this assessment and understand your own dynamics. This assessment is all about to know yourself. So that's about who can do it. I would move to why, who, and the next one which goes is what's there for me in assessment. Okay, so the assessment talks about, okay, put it all there. We, okay, it's about your ability. Put is more about the cognitive ability, your mental processor, how you process the data. When you talk about it's more about your behaviors. Okay, I'm good at, I know, we saw the slide before, all good interviews, not perform good at work. How do you know that? How will you derive at that? You hit the iceberg and say, oh, I chose the wrong person. He is good, but he cannot deliver numbers, or he's good, but I was expecting him to be more polite. He's too aggressive in the team. So, that's where your behavior fitment, and that's mostly on the organization culture we derive. What is all? It's all about you. Okay, I'm good with designing, but can I be good in I feel when I talk to people in organization. Oh, now, please don't ask me to talk. I'm happy doing my job. So what motivates people? I'm putting it all together, gives you a professional success. Success is the integral part. It's not just one thing, like, as dressing up, it's not just wearing your shoes or wearing your shirt, but dressing up means complete, complete personality where you are presentable. So when you see on the right hand side, which would be, I think, your left hand side, where you said put it all together, and the one which shows you the report, that's how the assessment feedback looks like. The first few 4 lines, they talk about your cognitive ability. The second 8 characters speaks about your behavior. And the last part speaks about your occupation interest. So, and it also gives you a job fitment. Like suppose I'm looking, I desire to be a dynamic, maybe entrepreneur. Okay, I'm just taking a hypothesis. So I take in the library, there are like globally, there are assessments, like there is a job pattern about how the entrepreneuring people have, what sort of learning index they have, what sort of behavior pattern they have, what sort of occupation interest they have. And then you match, you match them to the job pattern and see the gaps, and you say, oh, I'm here and I need these skills to adopt to be there. And that's how you go ahead, about moving into the right profession and deciding your career plans. This is little about where you can do it. The assessment that I'm talking about is it's a US based. It's in Texas. It has its regional office in Dubai. It's there in 122 countries. It's in 33 languages. Suppose you meet a Chinese guy, he can speak English, but he cannot read English. You can still do an assessment. You can. And how many assessments are done globally every year? There are 9,000 assessments done. So this map shows about where the assessment is available, and this is all web-based. This is not something that you have to walk down to. You can always walk down and go to the assessment centers. So now I'm talking about the last two aspects, the integrated assessments. What does it give? If you see the green boxes, it talks about personality and performance fit together, your education and your skill. It's rated on each, and it tells you how good are you to carry out that task. And then it gives you a score on each of it. So I'm giving you a quick brief on how the reports look like. So this is
number, I guess, change केला होता बघ.
This is the 2PR, which is your personality, professional, as well as your personal, as well as your profession.
ग्लोबस address 149 आहे. तू 166 टाकलाय आधीचा जो होता तो.
I think so. Somebody is, I think,
कशावरती?
Can somebody unmute themselves?
अरे
like mute
कुठल्या
themselves?
पोर्टल बोलतोय तू? tlpglobus.com वर? अरे नाही, आपण तो चेंज केला होता. आम्ही सगळे पेपर्स वगैरे पण सबमिट केले होते त्याच्यासाठी. 149 आहे.
I think
166 पासून आपण चेंज केलं. जाम मारामारी पण केली होती गेल्या वेळेला.
How this, the different reports look like, which is, you see, the person has a skill and his, skill, which is assessments, and then, your cognitive is your learning index. And there are the different reports that come up with your personality, a job match, your interview skills, like how can I prepare myself for read through it, and it will give. So each assessment gives you around 32 pages report, which could take. So what does it all cover about in your interest? Whether you're enterprising, whether you're social, whether you're inquisitive. So these all goes into in finding the behavioral interest or the occupation interest of the person. So what's there, which I would like to share about is, this is where you can see the various occupation that you can fit into. You from high to low. So suppose I want to be an HR. Can I fit to be an HR? It gives me a score. What occupation can I fit into? According to my personality, according to my occupation interest, it gives you all. So the last one which we reach is self-assessment for self-development. So this is know yourself. I know that there's a slight difference about coaching, training, and presenting or things like when you are studying, it's one way you are learning the basic concepts and trying to catch up, and when you are training, you are you are acquiring that learning, or you're acquiring that skill. But when you're coaching, it's like, I'm going to a shop to buy a shirt, and I say, okay, my fit is 23, and give me a 23. So maybe that brand may fit you, or that brand may not. So you always see that this brands fit me. So training is something like where you go into you take it from the shelf, wear it, and you walk. And when you say assessment coaching, it's more about, okay, what material would look good on you? You need to have a stiff material, you need to have a soft material. What color would look on you? And it's like tailor made for you. So you live with it, and you grow. It may be that you may not need any of the skills, or you may need some of the skills. So it defines you and takes you precisely to the core of it's like diagnosing that I have a throat problem. I shouldn't have medicine for my stomach. I'm having a headache. I don't need to, put a Band-Aid on my leg. So that's what assessments, talks about. It gives you precisely what you need to work on. And that's what we do with professions, with family, with students, and everyone around, And why we do this? So that you discover yourself to achieve success, skills, to work beautifully with your team, organization. You come up